What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. You guys already know what it is. It's draft season all year long, and today we have a full 7-round mock draft here for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, this team is an absolute shambles, and if you think I did a good job of, taking one step closer to rebuilding this team, consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you're a fan of the NFL draft in general, also consider hitting the subscribe button. We are on the road to 600 subscribers, so without further ado, let's get this thing started. Here with the number 3 overall pick. Wow. Okay. So, let me make it clear. We're using this, NFL mock draft simulator because PFF is making you pay if you want to do more than 3 rounds, and I'm just not about that. So, this is what we're going to be using temporarily, and that's going to happen, which would be crazy. And in a way, that wouldn't be good for us because, they'd probably take Will Anderson, and we'd want him. But that's besides the point at this point. We are sitting here with the number 3 overall pick. Bryce Young? Nah. We got to stick with Kyler. We're going to go Will Anderson here. Let's not waste a ton of time here. This defense is horrible. And I think Will Anderson would be a massive step in the right direction if we go ahead and take him here. Oh, this would be interesting. They're pretty much giving up their entire draft for this one pick to move up 2 spots. Very unrealistic. We are not going to accept those trades. But Will Anderson, right, just good character player, really good as a pass rusher, really good as a run-stopping defender as well. I mean, this is a full package edge rusher defender. There's no concerns about, his motor. There's no concerns about his athleticism, his want, his desire. This is the franchise player. And if I'm going to tell you that I am more certain about any player in this draft, it's going to be Will Anderson. I feel so confident about him as the number 1 overall player in this year's draft. So, really huge for Arizona, a really big opportunity for them to get him here at number 3. They don't have any good edge rushers at the moment, so this would be a massive upgrade. Now, Brian Branch is sitting here in the 2nd round. I feel like this would be an absolute snag. But here's the thing, right? You got Budda Baker, you have Jalen Thompson. I know that Brian Branch isn't necessarily a safety, but do we want to go with him here? Because, there's really good players on the board, like Jalen Hyatt, I really like. I think he's a really solid player. We really need a cornerback, right? I mean, is Marco Wilson the one right now? And if he's not, I don't know who the other guy is. He's probably not that good. Let's go Brian Branch here. This is too good of a player to be sitting around in the 2nd round, and we're going to go with him there. So he's going to bring a lot of versatility to your defense, right? This is a guy who can either play that free safety spot. I mean, he could play strong safety as well, but really good in the box, really good as that nickel cornerback right there. It's just his versatility is so huge to his football game, and maybe not the most athletic safety in the group, which, is still crazy because this guy runs like a 4.5 about, right? I mean, this is a really good football player, Brian Branch. There's no reason why he should be there in the 2nd round. So it comes to a point, and I've talked about this in previous mock drafts, where you got to go BPA, best player available, because you pass up on a player like this, it just doesn't make a ton of sense. So we're going to go with him there. What do we want to address some more at this point? Because I also want to make it an emphasis to protect Kyler Murray, right? I feel like that is just pivotal. And again, we really need this cornerback spot badly right now, but we don't have a center as well. And John Michael Schmitz would be a really quality player to get here in the 3rd round. And so would guys like Tyreek Stevenson and Julius Brents as well. But that entire interior of the offensive line for Arizona is just horrendous right now. And we've got to keep Kyler Murray upright. I feel like it's just essential to being successful in the NFL. You've got to protect your franchise quarterback. So as much as I want to take the cornerback spot too, we're going to go with John Michael Schmitz here. We've got to protect the quarterback. And Rodney Hudson is a huge loss for this team, but this would certainly be a quality replacement here in the 3rd round. Now, that's unfortunate. We would have loved to have Julius Brents here with our 2nd, 3rd round pick. So let's take a look what else. Now, if you're not familiar with Brian Branch, like I mentioned, this guy can play slot corner as well. So that addresses, the cornerback spot in some sort of way. Just a very versatile football player. That's all you need to know. Wow. Really like guys like Sidney Brown here. Gervon Dexter. Now, this this interior of the D line, because it's a 3-4, right? I don't feel like it's as big of a need. We could go wide receiver here. Oh, look who's staring us right in the face. I don't know why he's not suggested at this point. We haven't taken a corner. Okay, so Eli Ricks is one of these guys who's going to be taken in day two. I'm not sure where at this point. It's a mixed bag with him at this point, but I feel like he's a really quality corner. I have him in the top five of my cornerback rankings. I feel like this is a really quality corner, and you know that Alabama tends to push out really good members of the secondary. I mean, we've taken Brian Branch here in the second round, if that says anything. But there is a trend with Alabama secondary members, and not all of them are going to be spectacular, but most of them come out really good. And to go along with that, I think his tape says a lot. Does a really good job of making a jump on the football, breaking up passes when they're darted into his area. So I feel like he has really good reaction skills, and just also a really good athletic corner who can find the ball. I really like Eli Ricks here. We're going to go ahead and take him here, and I think could easily be the number one cornerback immediately for this team. He's just that good, and was a guy who was originally committed to LSU and transferred to Bama. So very, very talented football player. Okay, sitting here with our fourth pick, we've got to go with one of these wide receivers here. D-Hop's not going to be there, so it's going to be Marquise Brown, Rondell Moore. I think this team needs to go out and get another receiver. And taking a look at who's here, just the way that my board looks and the way that this board looks as well, we're going to go with Rashee Rice right here. I feel like this is a really underrated wide receiver prospect at this point. Was a guy who absolutely dominated at SMU this year. Is a really physically built wide receiver, but possesses a ton of athleticism. Really sounds like Quentin Johnson. And to be fair, I mean, I think he's better than Quentin Johnson. That could be a hot take that most of you guys don't necessarily agree with. But I feel like he uses his physicality a little bit more than Quentin Johnson does, and I think that that's just the biggest plus because he's able to utilize his size and also has the speed to go along with it. So I feel like this could be a really sneaky good player that not a lot of people are paying enough attention to. Okay, let's see. So linebacker we could address, but I just feel like, you have Isaiah Simmons, who is still a promising player. You have Zaven Collins, who you also drafted in the first round. Just not really feeling that spot as much. Could we go Kobe Turner here and address that interior D-line? Yeah, but I don't know. I'll consider it. Do we need to go running back here? I mean, look, at this point, right, because we're drafting here in round 5, I feel like these would be really solid, like a really solid running back to pick up in Israel Abanikanda. I really like Israel Abanikanda. Oh my God, this running back class is really good. It's really good. And there's going to be a lot of guys who fall in the draft, and we're going to be like, wow, this guy was a steal when we look back at it in the draft. And I feel like this could certainly be one of those guys. Doesn't look super fast, but is. Is a physical, patient runner. I really like Israel Abanikanda here. Huh. Decisions. I really like Isaiah McGuire as well. Really, really physical edge rusher out of Missouri. Let's go Israel here. I just feel like this could be a really good pick. And, like, this could be a good 1-2 punch with him and James Conner. I don't mind it. I really don't. Okay. Who do we want to go with here? We'll go Ivan Pace here. I don't mind getting more depth at the linebacker spot here. And again, I'm going to, say this time and time again in every one of these mock drafts that I do. Like, you get here in the late rounds, I wish that all of these guys could be contributors and starters day one. It just doesn't work like that. Some of these guys, I mean, you need to address your depth. This is a good place to, go for it. You don't want to be paying your depth guys a ton of money, right? So you pay them here in these late round picks here. We're still getting really quality players, so really happy with the way that this is going. Final pick here. Let's go with another cornerback. I mean, the position is just disgusting what it looks like on the depth chart right now and in terms of talent as well. Look, I really like the way that this draft went. I think there were a couple of times where we got a couple of scares where it's like, oh my God, are we not going to get our corner? Are we not going to get our receiver? But we got really quality guys here in day three, late day two as well. So Will Anderson is that franchise edge rusher that's going to change things for this defense entirely. Um, Brian Branch, no reason why he should be here in the second round, but welcome to Arizona anyway. John Michael Schmitz, go ahead here and address that interior of the offensive line. I think the one thing that we probably could have improved on in this overall mock draft, probably snagging another guard wouldn't have been bad. But there's still a lot of time in free agency, so they might address that spot there. They might address the center position, in this time before the draft as well. So let's not get too overly concerned about that. Eli Ricks, again, as I mentioned, could be a steal here in the mid rounds. I think would be cornerback one instantly on this team over Marco Wilson. Rashee Rice would be a solid option. I don't think he would be a full on replacement for D Hop, but would certainly do a good job of kind of filling in that void for the time being, and could progress into something really, really good and really special down the road. Same with Israel Abanikanda. Could just be a special teams contributor here in round five, but I think could really be a long-term solution to the running back position there for Arizona to go along with James Conner and then Ivan Pace and Darren Luter, both of them being juniors, will be our depth and special teams contributors. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I really like the way that this draft went. It just seemed like everything was falling into our hands and we were getting really good players at really good spots. I really can't complain at all. Really like the way that this went. And if you like the way that this went too, consider hitting that subscribe button. As I mentioned before, on the road to 600 subscribers. It's draft season all year long, and I will see you guys all later. Peace.